I'm late on my rent, so I'm getting evicted. My car had broke down and I needed a car to get back and forth to work, so I went and got a car payment and was late on my rent.
I'm here today because I haven't been served, but they said that they served me for an eviction.
Well, I didn't pay my rent because I wanted them to come fix some things in the house, and even my water even got cut off due to their part.
Because I was homeless for a couple of months. And so my mother-in-law went and got my son's Social Security, which is causing my rent to be delayed. And they all know this.
They didn't even do what they needed to do.
This is the thing, falling apart. And he knows that, and I've been telling him since we moved in there.
Oh, it's annoying at this point.
And every time I come, I like to do some research before I get here to see what you guys have been dealing with lately. And I learned in doing my research that Kansas City, Missouri has overtaken my hometown of Philadelphia as having the highest rental prices in the United States of America. You all are #1 now in terms of rent. Your rent over the past year in Kansas City, MO, has increased 17%. So let me tell you what I know is happening in Kansas City, Missouri, having not even been a resident here. Whenever the rent go up, that means gentrification is in full effect. Okay? In fact, the reason they raised the rent is to make it unaffordable for us. So we have to seek livelihood in residence elsewhere. Now, the gentrification of Black America was initiated 20 years ago with the election of President George W. Bush. That was when all of the major cities in America got together with the government of this country and said, we're going to take back the inner cities from Black people.
Yeah.
Remember, turn them lights back on. I got to see folks. Who turned them lights down? Turn them back up. There might be a few coons in the audience. I got to see who's out there. Keep the lights on, Jack. Let me see who out here. Okay? Damn, the dark. We don't do the dark no more. So in Y2K, George Bush and the leaders of the American power structure said, white people are sick and tired of running away from Black people out into the suburbs. When white people want to go to a Kansas City Chiefs game, they don't want to sit on the freeway in traffic for 30 minutes. They remember when they used to live in the city and all they had to do was take a quick car ride or public transit ride, or it's inconvenient living in the suburbs. They only went out there to run away from our ancestors who moved up here during the Great Migration. And since Black people are so in love with white people, wherever they go, you have to chase them. Oh yes. There's nowhere white people can go where Negroes will not follow them. If they go to the moon, you're taking an Uber. If they go to Mars, you're ordering a Lyft. That's how much you love your oppressors. And this also speaks to why gentrification is partly our fault. Oh yes. Kansas City, Omaha, Nebraska, where I was last night, Philadelphia, Baltimore, New York, DC, LA, gentrification is partly our fault. You know why? When the white folks took white flight in the 60s and the 70s and abandoned the ghetto, we could have bought everything up in the ghetto. We could have locked the ghetto down. So when George Bush decided we're going to take back the major cities, there would be nothing for them to take back because everything is owned and deeded to black folks. But we didn't do that. We chased white people out to the suburbs. And those of us in the ghetto didn't want to own nothing in the ghetto because we were trying to get out to the white suburb as well. So gentrification is a part of our responsibility as well. Now, be that as it may, I got some questions for Mayor Quinn. Now, y'all can't talk because y'all just re-elected him. And I ain't got nothing against old Quinn. But I'm trying to understand, if you're pushing a reparations task force to see if black folks in Kansas City are entitled to reparations because he said he wants to reduce the wealth gap between black people and white folks in Kansas City, Missouri. I don't have a problem with that, Mayor Quinton. But guess what? How can you be focusing on reparations from our brothers and sisters in Kansas City when you're not doing nothing about the gentrification happening right now? How you talk about reparations in Kansas City, you're not doing nothing about the unemployment right now? How you going to focus on reparations for Kansas City, you're not doing anything about the black homelessness in your city right now? Listen to me, brothers and sisters. This is a mistake we making all over the United States. Black people with our one-track mind are only thinking about reparations, reparations, reparations. You are giving up the fight against gentrification. You're giving up the fight against hunger, homelessness, unemployment. And guess what? This is a trap of the white power structure. Get them Negroes talking about reparations and nothing else, so we can close them out of everything else and get back to the reparations when we feel like it. You don't ever fight on one front when you black. We got about 30 major problems, and so we need 30 strategies in play at once. Reparations, let's have a reparations committee for that, and it's over. You're going to deal with homelessness. You're going to deal with miseducation. You're going to deal with youth employment. You're going to deal with black on black crime. But you can't have every black in Kansas City focused on reparations because we lose everywhere else. Now you got 4 black people in your city council. 2 queens, 2 kings. Or 4 coons, I'm not sure. But I'm just saying. I don't know because I haven't met them yet. I want to be respectful of the sisters. One of them introduced the reparations study, so maybe she's a little conscious, a little woke. I don't know. Y'all voted for them, not me. See, we as black people have a problem. And I'm not throwing no shade on them because I haven't studied their records yet. But we have a problem of voting for people just because they're black without even seeing what their agenda is. Democratic Party plantation, is that correct? None of them are independent, right? See, let me explain something. Dr. Umar doesn't vote for any more black politicians if they're not independent. Because if you don't run as an independent, that means you don't have an independent mind. You don't have an independent agenda. You don't have an independent strategy. And most of all, you don't have no independent money. See, your council persons and your mayors were elected on white money. The Democratic Party fronted those campaigns. And what happens when you're black and you care about your people, and I have no doubt that they may, but if you were financed by the banks of Kansas City who are redlining blacks out of owning homes, if you're financed by the big business people of Kansas City who keep black people unemployed, If you're financed by the same entities that are gentrifying black people out of Kansas City, when you win, although your skin is black, your entire policy is going to be white. Because the hand that pays is the hand that rules.